Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Welcome to the Edge of Liberty right here on the SHR Media Network. It is 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 on the East Coast. March the 26th, 2025. Thank you so much for joining us. You can catch us live on X, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Rumble, and simulcast with our good friends over at KLRN Radio. Got a lot to talk about this evening. Chat is open as always. Best place to join the chat is over on YouTube. Just search up SHR Media's YouTube channel. You'll see me live. You can go into the chat and harass me and the other chatters there. Play nice. Play nice, you rabid bastards. Lot to talk about this week. Going to start right off with Signalgate, as the left is trying to call it. Oh, what a ridiculous. This is a tale of what happens when you make an unforced error. At least right now, it looks like an unforced error. I know there's some rumblings out there that this may have been intentional. One of the theories I actually saw thrown out not too long ago is that the aide who allegedly added the reporter, Goldberg, who's a weasel, I'll get into that. But allegedly it's a ploy to get them to stop using Signal so their communications can be more monitored. That's an interesting theory. Possible, perhaps, maybe. If you don't know what Signal is an app that you can communicate through on your phone, much like a texting and phone calls. It's fully encrypted. Their servers are secured. It can't be hacked, essentially. It's one of the apps we believe the Trump assassin, the first Trump assassin, was using, which is why it's been hard to get it, who he was communicating with. But now the left is all up in arms. And when I tell you, I mean, oh, they're saying stuff like this. The American people aren't stupid. Pete Hegseth disclosed sensitive information and put our troops at risk and then lied about it. Trump must fire Hegseth. First of all, Pocahontas, no, that's not what happened, right? Nobody lied about it. The left is trying to say it started off, and they're walking it back more today. The left is trying to say, oh, but he leaked attack plans, war plans. Neither happened. There were neither attack nor war plans shared. There was a timeline shared, but no specific war plans. I've never seen war plans, but if your war plan is a thread in a group chat, you got more troubles than having that shared, let me tell you. But they went on, and I mean, you look at this idiot. You know, Tammy Duckworth is one of those people that makes it harder and harder to say thank you for your service, because she's just a complete scumbag. And then you get to people like Gomez. This was today during a hearing, and he was Representative Gomez had both DNI, Tulsi Gabbard, and John Ratcliffe, director of the CIA. Listen to the questions that he's asking. This is how much they want to blow this story up.
To your knowledge, do you know whether Pete Hegseth had been drinking before he leaked classified information?
I don't have any knowledge of Secretary Hegseth's personal habits.
Director Radcliffe, same question. Yes or no?
No, I'm going to answer that. I think that's an offensive line of questioning. The answer is no. I find it interesting that you
Hey,
want
I
to,
yield
no,
back.
I'm
This is
going to
my
answer.
time.
You asked me a
Director,
question, you want an
director.
answer?
No, listen,
You
it's
don't
a
want
yes
to
or no.
focus on the good work that the CIA is doing, that
No.
the intelligence community.
Director,
You
I
want to talk
reclaim my
about-
time. Director, I reclaim my time.
Great
Here-
job by Radcliffe,
I have-
by the way.
Huge respect for the CIA,
No,
huge
you don't.
respect for our men and women in uniform. But this was a question that's on the top of minds of every American, right? He stood in front of a podium in Europe holding a drink.
Nobody has ever said that that drink had alcohol in it. That's speculation, by the way, because water is clear too. Everyone tried to say that was vodka. This is how you know the level of bullshit they are willing to go to. And again, this isn't a big story. It really isn't.
So of course, we want to know if his performance is compromised. If people were asking if the General Austin was compromised because of a heart issue.
By the way, nobody asked if Austin was compromised. What we asked was who is in charge of the military, who is SecDef when Lloyd Austin was in the hospital being treated and nobody was notified. Big difference. That's not compromised. Okay? That is who is in charge. We know Hegseth's in charge. By the way, Pete Hegseth did not add the reporter to the conversation. So the fact that they're going after Hegseth just shows you that this is all about Hegseth. They don't like Pete Hegseth because he's an actual American and they hate that.
Was his performance compromised because of a successful
I yield
strike?
back, Mr. I bring my
You want to
I
know,
reclaim my
you want to
time.
talk about
I
accepting
reclaim my
responsibility?
time.
Do you think
I
you should
reclaim
accept
my time,
responsibility
Chairman.
for a successful
ask you-
strike to make Americans safer?
I
You want to
reclaim my
focus
time.
on,
Good job, by the way, by Radcliffe for really going at him because this stuff needs to be debunked. And look, comments from the chat. If this was not intentional, I don't know what is. I agree. Oh yeah, no, they were, and exactly. Jersey Joe hits it in the chat too. They were all silent, all of them, when the Afghan pullout and debacle happened that cost 13 service members their life. None of them said anything. And some of the things that you were getting from certain people who should really have learned to have shut up is just amazing. Adam Schiff went on this whole spiel about credibility. Now, by the way, once again, Signal was vetted by the previous administration and approved for secured conversation to a point, right? There are people being like, oh, I can't believe that Tulsi Gabbard fired 100 people for doing the same thing. No, those 100 people were talking about sex porn, furry porn, trans porn, all that other stuff. They weren't discussing work things, which is what this group was discussing. And if you haven't read it, I don't have it prepared to see. But the whole thread was essentially, here's the timeline. All right. It didn't give targets, it didn't give specifics, it didn't give anything. Okay, here's the timeline, and then everybody talking about how this could affect the strait and why it needs to be opened up for shifting. It wasn't like they were just sitting there like, haha, we're fucking up people with bombs tonight. High five, yeah, blah blah. It was all professional, extremely professional. You even had JD Vance say, hey, I don't know if like the president and I are on the same page here because of X, Y, and Z. It wasn't derogatory. It wasn't like, oh, and they didn't jump on that, which kind of shocked me too. But it was professional. It was constructive. It was an intelligent conversation. And perhaps that's what they hate, that it was used appropriately. And I've heard of Jason Buttrell. I didn't read it yet. Big E over at Missionary Men says, check out Jason Buttrell's Twitter timeline. He has some interesting insights on the Signal app. There's a lot that can be said about the Signal app. I'll tell you right now, do I think that we should be using a private company's app for this sort of communication? Honestly, no. But that's not a decision for me to make. I don't like it. I don't think that anything like this talked about should be held on any phone that has any other reporter's information. That's just me, right? I don't want any of that in the contacts. They need to be secured, whatever. That's not up to me. But there are allegations that this Alex Wong, who is the aide, I guess, to Waltz, I can't confirm that, potentially, but you have people, and by the way, I'm going to touch on this in a little bit yet again. You have people like Hegseth, from an operational security perspective. This is the highest level of fuck up imaginable. These people cannot keep America safe. First of all, Pete, you couldn't fill potholes. What the fuck do you know about operational security? Seriously, what does this guy know about operational security? You don't know dick, dude. You couldn't fill potholes. Step down, shut up, go sit down where you belong. Stop talking to me like you know what the fuck you're talking about. And once again, more cussing from Democrats. I'm going to talk about that later. I called it, what, a month ago? That they're doing this. I seem really tough and strong, and I'm going to start cussing. Yep. And you know what's funny to me, and something that has not been discussed during all of this. Yeah. No, I said that on X2, answering a conversation from the chat. Why the reporter stay in the chat? Exactly. Why did he stay in? Why did he not pipe up and say, hey, I shouldn't be in here, or just remove himself? You can remove yourself from conversations and then screenshot it all and share it. He knew right away he was going to leak it. He's no innocent angel. He's over the Atlantic. It's a POS garbage rag, and we all know it. But as they're talking about operational security, as they're talking about, oh, American lives are in danger, yada, 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 remember this. Afghanistan and 2 Iraq invasions. We knew it was coming for weeks. The presidents at the time told us it was coming for weeks. We had media on the ground waiting for the attack for weeks. Pardon me. That in itself was far more than the information that was put out in this Signal chat, but they don't want to talk about it. Look, Benghazi, right? All these people, I can't remember, I can never remember his last name. The guy who carried Obama's water after Benghazi, and slung the bullshit of Benghazi. Oh, this is terrible, blah, 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 blah. Where were you when Afghanistan happened? And by the way, 3 invasions that I watched live on TV that we knew was coming, 3 of them, 2 of them into the same country that had actual air defense systems that we had to go in and take out. Actual air defense systems, not a couple of shoulder-launched rockets, radar arrays, anti-aircraft guns, anti-aircraft missiles, etc., etc. And we all knew it was coming. And nobody said shit. We watched it on CNN live. Nobody was outraged about that. Where was the conversation about operational security then? We've been, every administration since Obama has been telling you that we're targeting certain people for drones. We've given out lists of people that we were looking for, that we were going to drone strike. They had playing cards before they went into Iraq that showed who they were trying to capture. Everybody knew day by day. We got the update. You remember Geraldo Rivera putting out an actual battle plan during an interview one time where he drew on the ground, this is the city, this is where we're going to go in, this is what we're going to do, yada, yada, yada. Nothing happened to Geraldo, and he was a civilian who leaked somewhat of a battle plan. It was a boneheaded move, but it didn't end the war. And this is the Houthis. The best they have are shoulder-fired weapons. Okay? This is not even a second world country. This is a fourth world country. As Trump called it in his first term, or other countries like this is a shithole country. right? But they have weapons from Iran that they're using to target civilian and military targets and Israel as well. And they're chopping off shipping through the strait by these attacks, and they're making it more expensive for stuff around the world. That's the other thing that they're doing. We all knew that. We all knew that we've been ongoing actively striking the Houthis since the Biden administration. This isn't some sort of new thing. This wasn't like we were launching an attack against a sovereign nation and we're putting it out. And even if it was, let's just say worst case scenario. Even if it was that, there were no specifics. And Hegseth had no idea that a reporter was let in because it was supposed to be a secured conversation. That is literally why they were in that group chat. And if you read it, like I said, if you read through it, it shows you that the adults are actually in charge because of what they were discussing and how they were discussing it. They were being honest. They were reflecting. They were looking at both sides of the outcomes. They were being intelligent. It's just it got leaked. And it didn't even get like leaked to the Houthis prior. That conversation was going on just before it happened and while it was going on. So it wasn't like the Houthis found out 5 days prior it was coming and moved everything, because that's pretty much all the Houthis could do if they knew we were coming and what the battle plan was. They could just move equipment and people. It wasn't like they were going to launch a counter-strike of what? I played the Houthi Air Force last week. What do you think? They were going to throw those up? A couple of F-5s against the F-18s? Get out of here. And guess what? Was this a forced error? Sure. We'll call it a forced error for now. Is this the only morsel the Democrats have right now because they're polling at 26% and they're barely keeping their head above water? Yep. And they're going to run with it and they're going to chomp on it and stay on this for as long as they possibly can, because this is it. Is this a major breakdown? No. Yeah, and they discussed that some things need to be noted on a more secured channel. Yeah, they knew what they couldn't discuss. This is a big, as Van Jones said, nothing burger, to quote him in a past scandal. But this is all Democrats have. This is how desperate they are right now. Because I'll tell you something. Other than whoever is being responsible will probably get a pee-pee slap. Literally just don't do that again because this was dumb. But I'll tell you right now, they'll just never use Signal again. I bet you it's done before. It was done probably an hour later. If it was a mistake, it was a forced error. If somebody did it on purpose, as is being alleged, I cannot confirm. If they did it on purpose, they absolutely need to be fired and potentially prosecuted. Because if you knew this was supposed to be secured and national security interests may be spoken about, and you intentionally leaked it to the press, that could get you in a little bit of trouble. But we're not there yet. I don't know that. You don't know that. We're only going off the information that we have. And the information that we have is a conversation had. Was it sensitive? Perhaps. Was it classified? Absolutely not. Did it put anyone at risk? No. It didn't put anyone at risk. Because this wasn't released to the Houthis 2 days prior. This was as it was going on. It was live. If anything, you saw how government works when stuff like this happens. At least the government now. And if you read through it, it should actually make you feel better. We like transparency. In this case, not exactly. I don't want our war plans leaked or anything like that. But this is not what it is. And you have Pocahontas and all the regulars. Oh, Hegseth needs to get fired. He didn't add people into the group. He didn't say anything that was classified. You just don't like Pete Hegseth. Fine. I get it. But I'll tell you something. Everybody, and I mean everybody, sees through what you're doing, Democrats. And that's why you're polling at 26%. This is a nothing burger. It goes nowhere. End of story. Up against a break right here on the SHR Media Network, simulcast on KLRN Radio. Please like and subscribe wherever you're watching from.
Freedom. One nation in all of human history was built on that bedrock. Ours. A republic of the people, by the people, and for the people. Self-government requires freedom, just as freedom requires an individual willingness to self-govern. Freedom has made America exceptional, but it can only last as long as you and I seek the good, as expressed by the laws of nature and nature's God. It can only last if you and I choose to act as people of character. Forging character has been the pursuit of Hillsdale College since 1844.
Ever dream of escaping the daily grind? At Escapist Travel and Tours, we make those dreams your reality. From breathtaking adventures to cultural immersions, we offer escapes tailored just for you. Let us take you to places where every moment feels like a new chapter in your life's adventure. Visit www.escapist.travel or call us today at 1-855-885-81776. Your escape awaits.
Are you looking for a way to boldly express your faith and love for your country? And check out Seven Armors, the premier apparel company for patriotic men of God, where faith meets freedom in style. Our t-shirts are more than just clothing, they're statements. Bold, stylish, and meaningful. From timeless messages to modern designs, we've got something for every patriotic man of God. Wear your beliefs proudly with Seven Armors gear. Don't miss the chance to wear your faith and freedom on your sleeve. Visit 7armors.com today and join the movement. That's the number 7armors.com.
Welcome back to the Edge of Liberty right here on the SHR Media Network. Simulcast our good friends, KLRN Radio. There was a White House breach today. I don't know if you saw this. This is pretty serious. And actually, there's video of Secret Service tackling the assailant. I'm going to play that for you right now. At least I thought I'd play that for you right now. It doesn't want to let me play it. Oh. There it is. Look at him. Just trying to, we knew this was coming. For those of you who are watching, I'm sure you're getting a chuckle out of this. This was a 3-year-old that slipped through the fence at the White House and was running around in the grass, and the Secret Service agent had to corral him. By the way, hats off to him for being able to carry him with his full battle rattle gear on. Because you know that's heavy and it's just cumbersome. And the kiddo made it through. It's pretty funny. It's just funny. You can even tell he's got a little smirk on his face. He's just patting him on the shoulder and I mean, he's going to be all right. It's a cute moment. Cute moment. Oh, man. So I'm going to close out the whole signal. I was going to go more and more. I was going to show you Milley telling how he would call China if Trump was going to attack China. I was going to show you Jack Kirby say we've held ourselves accountable to people asking why anyone isn't getting fired. I can't even tolerate it anymore. The left is just so over the top. It's annoying. The other thing, and I'm going to look, I've said before, I'll call out Trump when it's time to call out Trump. Even though I'm a humongous supporter, I still think that sometimes they need to be called out. He is an agent at the White House. That's funny. That would have been awesome if it was. Except needs to resign over the invasion from the small human. That's right. It was utter chaos at the White House. I wonder if they move the president to a secured facility. Oh man. I do gotta kind of show my disappointment in Trump. Won't last long because overall we're winning, and I know that. But Senator Lindsey Graham, he endorsed him for his next run. I don't like Lindsey Graham. Everyone knows I don't like Lindsey Graham. Not only is he a war hawk, but he is just the epitome of politician. I don't mean that with any sort of niceness. I mean that with every amount of vitriol that I could possibly have. He is the slimiest of politicians. He is the Republican version of Gavin Newsom. He will say whatever, whenever, however to get elected and gain popularity, and he will flip-flop more than an old woman at the beach. It is unbelievable what a douchebag Lindsey Graham is. And look, every once in a while he says something that I'm like, oh, well, that's surprising. But usually it's only surprising because 2 months earlier he was saying the exact opposite. Lindsey Graham is one of the tumors that needs to be removed from the GOP. There are other ones, don't get me wrong. He's not the only tumor that needs to be removed, but he needs to be removed. He's not a rational person. He's not a moderate. But I will tell you this. Trump endorsing him tells me that Trump put him in his place at some point and told him, hey, you stop running your mouth right now. And he did. So moving on from that, California, by the way, because I mentioned Newsom, so I want to mention this because we all know Newsom's going to run for governor. California, I don't know if you've ever heard for a president, rather, the high-speed rail that's going down towards LA, because it doesn't make it to LA. It makes it to Barstow or Bakersfield, somewhere where you don't really want to go. And I think it takes off out of Modesto, which is something you don't really want to go to either. But they're looking for another $7 billion for this. They've already spent, I don't know. I mean, I think it's closer to the hundreds of billion. I think it's 100 billion or something like that right now. And there's not even track laid. All right, this is the California equivalent of the Big Dig in Boston. Way over budget. Everybody's getting their pockets padded. There is so much just gross money that's being spent for nothing. And that's all this is. You got to remember, at one point, Nancy Pelosi's husband, Paul, was involved in this rail. This was all about padding pockets of friends of California politicians. And now they're looking for another $7 billion. $7 billion. And you add that to the $40 billion LA needs for the fire, $6 billion it needs for the illegal alien health care, because that's how much it costs for the illegal aliens to get health care. Pardon me, in California. And LA wants $2 billion from the state for a budget shortfall. Add that up, 46 plus 7, 53, $55 billion they're looking for. 55 billions. At least DeLorean built cars while doing rails. This is if anyone doesn't know that joke, look up DeLorean, and that's pretty funny. But this is the management that you get from a now governor, wannabe president, Gavin Newsom. By the way, there's rumblings that there could be a Bernie AOC ticket. I don't know if you've been following those two as they go on their worldwide tour, but geofencing has shown at their last 2 or 3 events where they're talking about how many thousands of people have showed up. 85% of those people showed up to Kamala Harris rallies. They couldn't even fill a football stadium, a high school football stadium, at their second rally in Arizona. It's absolutely adorable to see them running around together, isn't it? Isn't that the dream ticket? I would love it. Oh, please give me a Bernie AOC ticket. Give it to me. Because I'll tell you right now, Everybody moderately left to the right would not vote for that. Everyone knows, look, I'm going to say the quiet part out loud. And by quiet part, I mean it's the fact that everyone screamed this before. AOC is a blithering idiot. She is not an intelligent human being. I don't know what happened to BU education, but AOC has proven idiot over and over and over again. And I'm going to talk about her other friend who's an idiot here shortly. And Bernie is Bernie. Bernie is the communist loving millionaire who likes to yell at other millionaires. Couple of houses, really nice cars, yet he's always, you've seen that video, I'm once again asking for your support. No, that was really more of a Kennedy. Nah, I can't get Bernie tonight. It doesn't matter. Right? Bernie is a walking hypocrisy, but he is everything that is communist. Because as we know about communism, those who are in power live lavishly while everybody else suffers. And he's in power right now, and he would live even more lavishly. So I would love to see that ticket, because doing this and having to cover that for a year straight would make it so delicious. It would make it so, just as BZ says, buttery goodness. It would be incredible. It won't happen. It's going to be Gavin, whether you like it or not. And that actually scares me, because I think there are people who are legitimately duped by Gavin, because he is a slimy politician who will say whatever it is to retain power. He has absolutely no scruples. He has no convictions. While he was in California and he was trying to gain and keep power, he went super left. Now that he's trying to go national, he's starting to try to mold himself into this centrist that everybody knows he is not. He tries to act woke until it's no longer appropriate. He's now putting out a bill against boys and girls sports. Oh yeah, 86, 87 when he runs. Let's have it, baby. Let's have it, baby. Old white guy, top of the ticket again for the Democrats. Let's have it. Back to the good old days, just the way the Dems really like it. Oh man. But yeah, that's who Gavin Newsom is. And I'm not saying anything that's this isn't fresh territory. Anyone who watches this show or hangs out in the circles that we hang out in and discuss knows who Gavin Newsom is. But Gavin Newsom bothers me because of how smooth he converses. Now, the last 6 months, he looks like a coke addict. I'm not going to lie. All the movements, and he can't sit still. He's talking like, whew, boy, I hope he gets that figured out quick. For his own sake. I don't like to see anyone suffer for addiction. If that's what it is, I don't know. That's just a guess, really. Speaking of shit governors, Maura Healey, governor of Massachusetts, she's upset, and she's now trying to push back another governor who's trying to like walk things back, that Massachusetts isn't a sanctuary state. Now, this is coming because of the threats to cuts to sanctuary cities and states. But now she's trying to say, oh, no, we're not a sanctuary state. That's not it. And it's so funny, because I do remember the days when we sent illegals to the vineyard and they quickly embraced them, got their photo up, and then took them off the vineyard and gave them homes elsewhere. But one of the things that you're missing about Massachusetts right now, and this, again, there's some coverage, not nearly enough. And I know a lot of people in law enforcement back in the East Coast that I've talked about. It could be Adderall, Facebook user. It could be Adderall. The illegal immigration problem in Massachusetts with illegals committing crimes is astronomical. And I've covered it a few times here. You go to Massachusetts as an illegal, you get apartments, you get food, you get everything. They just give you everything. You live better than people that work their whole life there. But if you follow Bill Maluzhin from Fox News, he covers this a lot. And I'm telling you, if this interests you, or if you want to be blown away, I'm going to read a tweet that he put up today. Fox News obtained mugshots and rap sheets for some 200 illegal aliens arrested during ICE operations in Boston, Massachusetts surrounding, including fentanyl traffickers, child rapists, and murderers. They were large arrests, meaning ICE found them roaming the streets, at large arrests, meaning that they were found on the streets. They were helped with DHS and ICE. Previously deported Dominican arrested by Boston PD for fentanyl trafficking, who ICE released after who Boston PD released and then ICE arrested later. Two-time previously deported Honduran alien with prior conviction for child rape and mass was arrested again in Salem. A Brazilian fugitive wanted in Brazil for fleeing a murder sentence. He was caught in 2022 but released. He was arrested in Marlborough, Mass. And the list goes on and on and on. The amount of sexual assaults alone conducted by illegal criminal aliens has been unbelievable. It's horrific. It's terrible. And Maura Healey now is trying to walk back. And remember, she's one of the people that said, we'll take them. We'll take them. And it's the political two-step. I wish I had the song from the Best Little Whorehouse in Texas. Do a little sidestep. Because that's all they're doing right now. They've painted themselves into this corner. And then like Chicago, like New York, and then when they are about to reap what they sow, they want to turn around and start trying to claim that they didn't say that, or they didn't want that, or that's not their policies, when it very clearly is. You know, when I lived in Massachusetts, it was pretty blue. Pretty blue. Not as deep, dark blue as it is now. It was pretty blue, but it was reasonable for the most part. Most people in some, even the bluest sections, understood criminal justice, and they understood that you had to put bad people away, and people that needed to go away, you sent them away. And I know this because I worked in a pretty blue area doing criminal justice. I worked in law enforcement. I dealt with it for years. Most people were happy when you removed a bad person from the streets. Not everybody always is, but most people were. Now it's not like that. It shifted. Massachusetts is the pus of woke ideology. It is gross how much it's oozing woke ideology and leftism and socialism. I look at Cambridge. Holy shit. But Massachusetts is going to fall as quickly as San Francisco did, at least in the major areas. Yeah, you get out into the suburbs, there's some more red areas, but I'm talking about Boston, Cambridge, the North Shore, not Framingham, Worcester, all those areas, all the big metropolitan areas, they are going to fall quickly because of this woke ideology. And the fact that they haven't taken a page or a lesson rather, and they have taken the page, just not the lesson of San Francisco, Seattle, and other cities, is mind-blowing. And the people of Massachusetts keep voting for the same thing. Not all of them, but most of them. It is so expensive to live in Massachusetts now that I will tell you, and I tell this story all the time, Big E will remember this apartment that I was in. 2-bedroom apartment, one city away from the city limits of Boston. Big municipal area, train system, nightlife, the whole thing. Off-street parking, washer dryer, nice apartment. It was a nice first floor apartment for a young kid. Had a roommate while I was there. We paid a total of $650 a month for that apartment when we first moved in. And our rent never went up. It stayed $650. Off-street parking in Massachusetts, that's an extra $2,000 right there. Now, that same apartment, I looked it up not too long ago for rent, $2,200. Gas used to be relatively inexpensive up till 2 years ago in Massachusetts. The cost is going through the roof. Energy is through the roof. Massachusetts is the walking, talking proof of inflation and what happens when you mismanage money and you start feeding into all of these ideologies that do nothing but hurt the average person. And a lot of these cities, like the one I was just talking about, they're growing exponentially because there's so many colleges and universities there that people move there to go to college and university and stay, and they're coming from all over the country. Massachusetts has, the Boston area has, I think something like 36 colleges, some ridiculous amount of colleges, and the hospitals are right there. And in the last 15 years, really, the tech industries come in, the biotech industry. There's also a lot of military development companies there. They don't like to talk about that, but it's true. If you go anywhere out by Hanscom, you'll see them all out there. But tons of people have shown up. You would think that they would just the amount of taxes, the money that they would make off the taxes would be astronomical. No, because they overspend everything. Everything. And they don't put it in the right place. Let me tell you something. The city I used to work in's added something like 20,000 people. They haven't added firefighters. They haven't added cops. They haven't added anything. No public safety whatsoever. Infrastructure's fallen apart. It is collapsing onto itself because of woke ideology and people like Gov.Healy who just do whatever they can to get into power, like Gavin Newsom, say whatever it is, doesn't matter what the outcome is, as long as you get elected and you get in power, that's all that matters. Screw the citizens. I'm up against a break. Please like and subscribe wherever you're watching from. Back.
Freedom. One nation in all of human history was built on that bedrock. Ours. A republic of the people, by the people, and for the people. Self-government requires freedom, just as freedom requires an individual willingness to self-govern. Freedom has made America exceptional, but it can only last as long as you and I seek the good, as expressed by the laws of nature and nature's God. It can only last if you and I choose to act as people of character. Forging character has been the pursuit of Hillsdale College since 1844.
Ever dream of escaping the daily grind? At Escapist Travel and Tours, we make those dreams your reality. From breathtaking adventures to cultural immersions, we offer escapes tailored just for you. Let us take you to places where every moment feels like a new chapter in your life's adventure. Visit www.escapist.travel or call us today at 1-855-885-81776. Your escape awaits.
Are you looking for a way to boldly express your faith and love for your country? And check out Seven Armors, the premier apparel company for patriotic men of God, where faith meets freedom in style. Our t-shirts are more than just clothing, they're statements. Bold, stylish, and meaningful. From timeless messages to modern designs, we've got something for every patriotic man of God. Wear your beliefs proudly with Seven Armors gear. Don't miss the chance to wear your faith and freedom on your sleeve. Visit 7armors.com today and join the movement. That's the number 7armors.com.
Welcome back to the Edge of Liberty right here on the SHR Media Network. Simulcast with our good friends over at KLRN. Thank you to everyone who's been chat tonight. Really appreciate you guys. That right there, ladies and gentlemen, is your vice president who's visiting Marine Corps base today, San Diego. Just, kidded up and hanging out. But if you think that's cool, this is even cooler. This is what the White House tweeted this out as. And I hold on, I clicked the wrong thing. I also play the same commercial twice. But who's counting? The White House tweeted this out with this picture. A post that said, just the Vice President of the United States sending some freedom seeds downrange doesn't get more American than that. My God, is that not awesome? Freedom seeds from the official White House. Comment from Facebook user, can't see your name. I apologize. And I'll read this in the entirety because the clip doesn't help. I hope to God that Gavin Newsom doesn't get all the money he's crying about. Please tell me that POTUS already knew that Newsom is only wanting money for his own pockets. Yeah, I agree. Surely the lack of the high-speed train and the lack of the dead tree cleanup and fire has proven that Gavin doesn't know money management unless he's pocketing the money. Well, I mean, I guess that's a money management that he knows there, Facebook user. I mean, look, Gavin Newsom is a POS, and he wastes the state's money left and right to appease the leftist ideology that's in this state. That's all it is. He spends taxpayer money and gives it out to the people that will keep getting him elected. Speaking, by the way, of awesome posts by the White House, and this is really, I'll tell you, whoever's doing the White House social media posts right now are winning. This says, simply put, we will find you and we will kill you. After they posted, our brave warfighters executed counterterrorism strikes, killing dozens of ISIS jihadis hiding in the cave complex in Somalia. We continue to mop up the mess left by Biden. For years, terrorists killed Americans with impunity. Now they are the prey. We are the hunters. Holy shit. Is that a different look from the White House communications? Like, damn. I'll tell you something right now. If I was a terrorist, I'd legitimately be thinking twice about my decisions in life. Like, maybe it's just time to retire. Maybe it's just time to think of something else. I mentioned her earlier. I don't want to spend too much time on her because we all know who Jasmine Crockett is. She is a code switching lefty who acts ghetto when it's appropriate and then talks like a Southern belle when it's appropriate. She's like every other leftist. You see the trend with leftist politicians, honestly. You see how they will placate and pander to whomever they need to in the moment. We saw this with Kamala too, and we see this now, as I mentioned earlier, with them cussing. Excuse me. I said on this show a couple weeks ago, maybe a month now, that the Democrats realized that they lost young men and men in general in the last election. And now they're going to try to seem more masculine and tough and edgy, right? Because they think that's going to bring it back. And they don't realize just what total idiots and scumbags they look like, right? Because Jasmine Ratchet, because everyone saw who you were for the last 20 years, 15 years, whatever. And now you're going to come out and start cussing when you've never cussed before. You saw it with Pete Buttigieg earlier. You saw it you've seen it time and again, and you're going to see it more and more. But here's Jasmine showing what a wonderful person she is, talking about the Texas governor.
Because we in these hot ass Texas streets, honey. Y'all know we got Governor Hot Wheels down there. Come on now.
You notice how she has to read from a script. Governor Hot Wheels. Governor Abbott, like him or not, is in a wheelchair.
And the only thing hot about him is that he is a hot ass mess, honey. So yes.
So would the real Slim Shameless please stand up? Because you get these code switching with, she's the worst. Remember, she went to an affluent school that mommy and daddy paid for. She grew up middle class. Yeah, I'll get to that in a second. She is the equivalent of born with a silver spoon in her mouth. It may not be the biggest silver spoon, but she's been okay her entire life. And you've seen her try to play off, like Biggie said, like she's ratchet, when she's not. She's not. But one of the things that she is, as we've learned, is when she's backed into the corner, she gets violent. There was a reporter, and I can't find it. I thought I had it saved, but maybe I screwed up. There was a reporter who was asking her questions inside Congress, and she grabbed him. How dare he ask her questions? Grabbed his camera and also scratched his hand. That, my friends, is called assault and battery. That is a misdemeanor. And she completed it. It's on video. And before that, she gave this genius, just brilliant, high level, high intensity, high intelligent statement while on the dais today.
About emergency management, and they don't care about free speech, all of which are harming American people. In fact, I'm gonna skip off real quick because they have tried to come for you, Miss Mayor, and I just want to clarify, you did not work for NPR when those statements were made, did you?
That is correct, Madam
And to
Chair.
be clear, free speech is not about whatever it is that y'all want somebody to say. And the idea that you want to
No. First of all, Jazzy, nice glasses. I don't know. Those are probably $300 pair of glasses, and you have like 25 of them, and the whole like solid color suit thing isn't working out for you. Change it up. But the whole problem with PBR, tell what I'm doing after the show. I don't drink PBR. The problem with NPR and PBS is they have been doing nothing but carrying the left's water for years, and absolutely have taken taxpayer money while they've doing so. They've pushed left propaganda and agenda for years. There is absolutely no balance with them. I've said this before. C-SPAN's fairly balanced. C-SPAN is fairly balanced. That's why you're not seeing them. They get federal money, if I'm not mistaken. PBS and NPR is not at all balanced. It is a leftist, lefty, hardcore, woke mouthpiece for Democrats and has been for years. And the problem that I and many other conservatives, including those in Congress, have is that they keep getting federal funding to do this. And the question is, should they get federal funding if they're not giving equal time? Should taxpayers be paying for it? Now, if they give equal time 50-50 down the board, great. I'll have that conversation. If they're doing straight news, like most of C-SPAN is, where it's just, we're playing this clip, we're telling you what happened, we're not giving opinions, we're not trying to change your opinion, we're just giving you the straightforward poop, as they say. But that's not what's happening. So that's what this whole congressional committee is about.
shut down everybody that is not Fox News is bullshit. We need to stop playing because that's what y'all are
There's the cussing again.
doing in here. You don't want to hear the opinions of anybody else. And the Constitution says Congress shall make no law respecting or establishing of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof or abridging the
gentlewoman's time has expired.
press.
They're not making a law. They're deciding to pull funding. There's a big difference. There's a huge difference. And seeing how, as Big E pointed out, she went to the most expensive school in Missouri, you would think she would know that, but it doesn't meet her narrative at the moment. And again, this is what the left does. The left will absolutely try to lie about what's going on for the sound clip. They know media like NPR and PBS will turn around and play that clip with zero context and talk about how brave and spot on she is. And it's ridiculous. Oh, I do have the clip. You know what? I apologize. I didn't think I had the clip. I think I do have the clip. Hold on. I just want to make sure. Yep. Here's Jasmine assaulting a reporter. Battering, I should say.
Calling for violence on the 29th. Would you like to clarify your comments?
As you can see.
Congressman, will you condone violence at the test?
Ladies and gentlemen, that was from Laura Loomis. She's the one that posted that. I'm not a huge Laura Loomis fan, but she had it, so I used it. That is what we call in law enforcement a battery, the unwanted touching of another. And if you are a congressional member of Congress, you still do not have the right to do that. He was not backing her into a corner. He was not threatening her. He was asking her a question, which he has the right to do as a reporter in Congress. She never had her freedom of movement impeded in any way, shape, or form. He was asking a question, and she snatched it out of his hands. And by doing so, she also scratched him. That is a battery. Man, the Democrats love violence, huh? It's crazy who they will batter once they get asked questions they do not want to answer. So she might actually now qualify officially as ratchet because she might catch a case. See, before it was all playing, but now that she might catch a case, if she does, I will agree. He is pressing charges. That's what I'm being told in the chat room anyhow. I will agree that she is officially ratchet because now she's caught a case. And who knows, maybe she wanted that for cred or whatever. But speaking of morons, this is simultaneously sad, but the funniest video I've seen all day. The assault on Teslas continues from the left, but this one I think takes the cake. And I want you to pay close attention. I don't know if you'll see the assault. It's very subtle. The person who do it, very, very small. Just watch. Oh, did you see it? I don't know if you saw it. Let's do it again. Boop. My favorite part about this is that the ATV is completely jacked up and it looks like the fuel tank strapped to the front. But just in case you missed it, it's like I said, it's very subtle. Boop. There it is. I can't wait for the sound effects to be added to the memes for this one. It puts it in reverse. I say it because I don't know if it's a male or a female. And honestly, I the person's name is I'm gonna get. Did you ever see Key and Peele where they're talking about the football players' names? This name is like that, and I am not even going to try to pronounce it because I am going to screw it up so bad. You can read it right there. Sorry, right there. Demariquian Cox of Texarkana, Texas, was arrested, what I assumed for malicious destruction of property. This is just, they don't understand. First of all, to you idiots on the left, I'm going to tell you something. That car's already been bought. Elon already got the money for it. And if you think you're going to scare people into not buying Teslas now, all you are doing is helping Elon, because a whole bunch of conservatives who probably were never going to buy a Tesla before are now buying Teslas. I mentioned earlier last week that Tim Walz said that he could kick most MAGA men's ass or something to that effect. And Mayor Glenn Jacobs, who is a libertarian conservative, he also had a job before he was a mayor. He was Kane from the WWE. Big dude, still works out. Big dude. Called him out and said, "Hey, I'll do a charity wrestling match with you." And of course, Tim Kaine said nothing, which really shocked me because I really expected Tim. Look, Tim Kaine is just the gift that keeps on giving. Honestly, he is just. I hope that guy never goes away because I love it. Last bit of good news for the night, and I'll talk about this for a second. Yep, everyone has Sentry mode enabled now. You're 100% right. There was a Thomas Massey put together a HR 38 National Reciprocity Bill, essentially saying, hey, 29 states have constitutional carry. It should be all 50. I wholly agree. Under HR 38, reciprocity, a resident of one of the constitutional carry states can carry in any state that allows their citizens that requires their citizens to obtain a permit. Essentially, it says if you can carry legally in your state, you can carry legally in all 50. I am still a big believer of saying, hey, we have that. It's called the Second Amendment. But unfortunately, that's not recognized for some strange reason. But I am excited about this. Look, reciprocity has been brought up several times. We have the House, we have the Senate, we have the judiciary. If you or they cannot pass this bill, then they're very problematic. I will say that nicely. They're super problematic. This is more attacks on on Teslas. But national reciprocity needs to be passed. It needs to be done. This is a no-brainer. It should be done before before April. It should be done, signed before April, no questions asked. It's a simple bill, it's a quick bill, and there should be no questions asked whatsoever about it. Folks, that's it for me. That's my 1 hour. Look, you can check out every Tuesday and Thursday during the day, 12 p.m. Pacific, 9 on the East Coast. Nope, got it backwards. 9 Pacific, 12 on the East Coast. Mission Ready Men with my good friend Big E. Friday night, 6 p.m. River Common Sense with Jersey Joe. Make sure you check out all the great shows with our good friends over at KLRN. BZ's taking a little bit of vacation. He will be back. So there's nothing wrong. He's fine. He's just taking a couple of weeks off. No sweat right there. So he'll be back Tuesday and Thursday nights, 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 on the East Coast. Thank you so much. Please like, subscribe, share, listen to the podcast. Check me out next Monday, 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 on the East Coast, right here on the SHR Media. Have a good week.